I'm gonna say that. If you don't worry, there's nothing to worry about. Well, thank you, babe. I told her I think she's sexy and pretty today. Well, I started off the day by pulling the whole alpha male trick of, no, babe, she didn't sleep with me the last 2 nights, so I was all upset. Yeah, like a fucking girl, like a beta male to the max, which I do not take pride in being. I like being an alpha male. I fucking bitch and complain about it and fucking portray more beta male fucking symptoms and, you know, just being a little bitch and whining about it, thinking either she fucking masturbated before sex and that's why she was so sensitive. Like I was licking her for like, I don't know, 30 seconds and she was already like hugged to come and it was too sensitive, she can't handle it, so I get all fucking bitchy, and then when she doesn't get wet for me, I get all fucking pissed off, you know, like a bitch. And you know, I don't like talking about this, by the way. I mean, I love talking about sex, I talk about that shit all day long. What I mean is I don't like talking about my insecurities. I mean, I'm hard as a rock and she's not getting wet and I'm fucking doing stuff to her thinking, and she's like freaking out, that's so sensitive. So I'm like, well, she clearly masturbated for us, but you know, it isn't a big deal. I don't give a fuck if she does. You know, I mean, rather let me watch. If you do, I won't masturbate when I'm about to come to bed with you. You know, she has this rule that she wants me to come to bed with her every night, you know, within reason, you know, because at night I got more responsibilities than her. She wakes up and she's got more responsibilities in the morning. She does her morning, thinks she's more of a morning person. It takes me longer to roll out of bed, depending on the day. Some days I'm really hyper to get up. But her, she does a lot more things in the morning and then she's tired at night, whereas I got a lot of energy at night. You know, I drain in the day, not necessarily drain in the day, and you know, I think it has to do with the fact that I wanted to not be, because I was very in sync with nature at one point, and it seemed like the moon phase change would fuck me up, and you know, the season change would fuck me up, maybe about a year ago, maybe less too. So I did a bunch of different sigils, and I'll go through that maybe later or in a different video to try to reverse those effects. And maybe I went too far, but at night I have more energy and I have trouble sleeping at times, and some of it's to do with what's going on, or what happened, but not so much anymore. Now it's just like that energy at night, especially the more full that moon is, the more positive energy I have, and the more full the dark moon is, meaning the less light of the moon, I have more, holy fuck, energy. Which, you know, something about anger I think is very important for everybody to know is anger is both a negative and positive emotion. It's both. That's why it feels so good to get angry sometimes. And that is something that you can meditate on and think about. And, you know, it reminds me of frankincense. Frankincense is the only thing you can burn. So burning something is positive, right? Fire is a positive, whereas water and earth are negative. Well, water and earth both give you negative electrons. Burning frankincense releases negative ions, not electrons, ions. Burning frankincense releases negative ions. So if you have an oil, put it on, let's say your dollar store. I do this. I go to the dollar store, buy incense, but I get, well, if you can get unscented incense, but it doesn't matter. I color coat mine. Purple I'll use for Jupiter and the moon, fucking blue as well. The yellows are Mercury, but Mercury specifically I'll use orange, and then I'll keep the yellow ones. It's just a cheap one, but then I'll take frankincense and I'll put it all over that bitch. So now it's a frankincense incense, and I'm burning it, so I'm getting negative ions. So you can say, holy fuck, you use fucking dollar store incense? Oh, what kind of fucking witch are you? I'm the kind of witch who's smart and takes dollar store shit and turns it into something healing by burning negative ions and releasing it in the air. That's the kind of witch I am. Now, I'm not going to let someone say, well, if you don't go to an occult store and buy shit from a real witch who makes these shit, and you're kidding or something. No, my mind is the most powerful fucking drug, fucking placebo, fucking whatever, that I can create anything into anything. And I believe that, and I got that programming lodged in here, so fuck you. That's all I gotta say about that. Anyways, so beta male. I was experiencing a very beta fucking male and a moment. And more importantly than that, let's say you might be like me. You might be sometimes display more feminine energy. You might be someone who's very into their looks and takes care of themselves. Like, see, I've never been excused for being gay, all right? But I know some good-looking guys. I have some friends, well, yeah, I don't talk to them anymore, more like acquaintances, but I know people that are also just as good looking as me, and some people think they're gay. One guy, Frenchie, is like, I wouldn't be surprised if he was gay, you know. And I don't know, sometimes that was a girl who thought she was hot. He just was running game on her hardcore and like ignoring her hardcore, so he didn't even bother looking at her, and she was just saying shit like that. Who knows, maybe. But I've never been mistakenly for gay that I know of. I mean, who knows, right? But that I know of, I've never been mistaken for being gay. And I think it's because of this, and this is what not what I want to talk about, but it's something I want to just get into real fast or mention. So if you are a guy who, you know, has a lot of negative energy, negative qualities, and what I mean by negative energy and negative qualities is simply, you know, like me, I can be very sensitive, very feminine, and to the point where, you know, if I don't keep it in check, I can display beta fucking male fucking, you know, signs and act like a fucking bitch man, I guess. So alright, where the fuck was I? I was explaining I was being a bitch. Or beta male. Bitch male, beta male, same shit, right? I was acting like a little bitch. And, you know, some people might say, well, your feelings are valid. And yeah, she totally masturbated first. And no, sometimes I get like that too. And, you know, she's explaining to me that she's very sore. She's been sore last few nights. So that's another thing I also want to talk about is my wife doesn't express, like, if she has pain. As a child, she always hid her own pain because her brother was very ill as a kid. I don't know if anybody's ever seen my episode where I made it's all about my wife and how she's triumphant and made it through the fucking hardest things in her life, which kind of goes with what I said yesterday in my video. If you've been through the worst shit, you've been through some really hard times, you've been through some shit, and you're still here, and you know change is the only fucking constant, and you know the pendulum has no choice but to go the other way. It's a fucking law. Same thing as getting something in your subconscious. If you get something in your subconscious, it will fucking manifest. It is a law. If you let other people get in your mind and tell you that, oh, you can't just get stuff in your mind, and oh, but what happens if you have 1,000 thoughts a day? That's the problem. You have 1,000 thoughts that go in your subconscious mind and then none of them play out. It's like, no, all that shit is horse shit. Your conscious mind gets in the way. And when anybody on the internet telling you that you can't put something in your subconscious mind, with like the ways I'm saying, if they're trying to contradict that, it's because they're trying to get that through to your subconscious mind, and they're trying to get your conscious to block everything. They're trying to get your conscious mind to become a cock block and stop you from manifesting, so you keep manifesting the same way you always have, through repetition and watching their shit and getting them hits and all that. So it's horse shit, don't listen to them. Go ahead. It's a bunch of crock. But I keep losing my trains of thought, man. It's fucking terrible today. But what I want to say, what I want to talk about, what I want to get into is a few things. One being what I was just saying. Well, not what I was just saying, but I started, maybe I'll find my way back by just backtracking and closing some of my open thoughts. So my wife's life, I made a whole video about it, how her brother was sick, and as a little girl, her brother got everything, and she got nothing. And as she got older, she kept getting nothing and got more responsibility, had to take care of her brother, to the point where she moved out at age fucking 15 when she wasn't even allowed to, ended up getting pregnant, had to go get out of school, was on welfare for a bit, and, you know, whatever else to support her kid, while she finally graduated from school, and now she just got promoted from a $33 an hour job to a $40 an hour job. She's the fucking rank of a supervisor in a fucking government job with crazy benefits, crazy pension. I mean, she's set. She's fucking set. She's got a house, she's got 4 kids, and she's 31, and she's making $40 an hour, which, you know, that's not like a lawyer making $300 an hour, but to most people, like I'm making, I don't even make $20 an hour anymore. I'm making like 19, I think it is. Fuck. No, not even. It's like 18 something, and that's only because I'm on a rotating shift and shit like that. Point is, she's more than double my paycheck. You know, I take home fucking $2,000 every 2 weeks, something like that. No, that's not accurate. About 1,100, maybe under 1,000 and something every 2 weeks was what I was getting. And I mean, I just started working this job. It's a year this year, right? Prior to that, I was making $22 an hour at my other job, and I thought that was good. And I was the highest payer earning. I was earning more money 4 years ago when I was at that job until I lost that job. But here's the thing. I lost that job, and then my wife, before I lost that job, my wife gained her government job, which she starts at like $29 an hour, is the entry level for her job. And then after being there 4 years, she was at 33, and now she just got this acting post. But what I'm trying to say is she's been through shit in her life. She was told over and over again to not feel pain, and every time she's like, Mom, this hurts. Oh, what are you complaining about? Your brother's got it twice as worse as you. He might not even make it to this Christmas. That's all she heard. So even to this fucking, bro, I don't even like thinking about my wife as a little girl. She was so robbed of her childhood. But anyways, even to this fucking day, you know, she carries that with her. But imagine being told that your whole fucking life, that your problems ain't shit, your brother's got more problems. And she never took that out on her little brother. She loved and cared and babysat for him to the point where he's sick. He wants her to come from Cornwall to go to Ottawa to go see him in the hospital. And there's no coincidence that like the day after me and her go see him, that he's out of the hospital. Not always. Sometimes it's like whatever, it's a week or two, but we always get the call, hey, they wants to see you, it's not looking good. We go there, 2 days later he's out of the hospital. And I'm telling you right now, that ain't my healing ability. I mean, there are times where it looks gloom and like whatever, and Sandy, my wife's a wreck. And I think that's where my magic might come in, because she is not in the right frame of mind. So she knows there's power in being positive, even though she won't admit it. But she won't be in the right frame of mind, and she'll be having a lot of fear emotions. So I'm her crutch, and she cries on me, and then I do a few candles, and then lo and behold, he's not healed. He's not anywhere near healed, but he's healed enough to get the fuck out of that hospital. And I always hope that, you know, one of these days, I butt out now. I don't even bother making him a candle anymore, because I can't keep making a candle to heal somebody who's not going to change. The kid he's a kid. He's 20 fucking, he's gonna be 26, I think this year, 26 or 27. But he's got the mentality of a younger person. And you know, that's one. But yeah, so, like I said, the mom keeps telling everybody that he's not gonna make it, he's not gonna be much longer, but and I don't think this is her fault. And this is me on the outside looking in. But anybody who's got a sick kid, and I call him a kid because everybody treats him like he's fucking 12 or 9. And he's 20 fucking 7. Or 5 or 6. I'm bad. He's a May like me. But anyways, everybody treats him like he's a fucking kid. But he treats him like he's gonna die and like a fucking, you know, cancer patient. And well, now he actually is a cancer patient. He's got a brain tumor. But before that, everybody treated him like that. You know, and that's why like when these outsiders come in, like he didn't like a lot of my wife's exes, but he liked me. Why is that? Because I talk to him like a person. Same thing with animals. Animals like me. I treat animals like people, but that's a different story. But I mean, anybody, I don't see a difference. He's a grown man to me, you know? Yes, he doesn't think the same way we think, and you might have to be nicer and give him some leeway, because, you know, he's still a fucking virgin, never had a girlfriend, and never gets experience of shit. So if he starts becoming a prick a little bit, you give him a little bit of leeway, but he's still a fucking man, you know? Anyways, and he's full face of hair, he's fucking almost 7 fucking foot, but, you know, he drinks Pepsi all day fucking long, and eats ice cream sandwiches, the odd banana, some cheese sometimes, you know. Well, those are probably the 2 best things in his diet. He'll eat burgers and he'll eat meat from time to time, but, you know, now that he's on different hydromorphines and different hard fucking painkiller opiates for a cancer patient, which is somebody who should get that shit, but, you know, he sleeps all the time, and then he wakes up and eats and just sleeps. But point is, your kid's sick. You think you're helping him by giving him everything he wants, to the point where he's calling you a bitch when you won't go buy him a bottle of Pepsi because you're trying at the age of 20 something to tell him you should be drinking water and having a good diet. You know, you can't do that now. That guy's been programmed. He's been programmed his whole fucking life to get whatever the fuck he wants when he doesn't want it. Instead of saying, okay, Mom, it's okay. You gave me everything my whole life and I appreciate it. It's like, fuck you, bitch. Go get it for me or else. I'm going to take a temper tantrum, and I'm going to be a 25-year-old fucking 7-foot little child taking a temper tantrum in the store right now. Yeah, you're really doing your kids some fucking good there. And once again, I'm not dissing her. She had her own, this is her life test, my mother-in-law, and I love her. This was her fucking life test that she had to go through. She failed. She was the eatable mother. But if there's ever a time to be the eatable mother where you're so worried about losing your kid, is when your kid has this weird illness that no doctor can understand, and every doctor tells him he's only got so many months, so many years to live. She's been hearing that since he was a little boy, so she always assumed it was, and it didn't happen. He's like that one fucking, you know, there's always an exception to a rule. Well, he's that exception to, you know, doctors give people terminal illness, and most people get that in their brain and they end up dying then. Except for the people that say, you know what, I'm going to enjoy my life, I'm not going to do chemo, and those are the people that actually beat cancer, by the way. But he's the one that doesn't heal, but at the same time doesn't die. So it's fucked up. It's like a polarity there. And if you met his parents, one is a church freak, believes in Jesus, who still to this day says, don't worry, David, you're going to be around forever. You got this. God's going to save you and all that. So he's praying for him every night. And if he has complete faith and he does it almost right, well, then it's his mind against Sylvie's mind, who's telling everybody he's going to die any second. So his kid's got one parent saying he's going to die any second, one parent saying he's going to live forever. So he heals, but he never gets better. Do you not see what the fuck is going on? To me, it's crystal clear. I want to scream at every one of these people. It's like, holy fuck, man. I don't believe in Christ, but if everybody did what Glenn did, he'd be fucking healed by now. And you could pray for him to start eating good food, and then he'd fucking do it, because the guys are having an effect on him. You're killing him, you're making him better, but you're both keeping him alive just to suffer, because of the two of you. So both of you need to fuck off. He's better off if someone kills the little fucker right now. And that's hard to say. He's my brother-in-law, and I love him. But man, he's having a miserable life. He doesn't know any better. So to him, you know, it's a good day if he sees a hot chick. And it's a great day if he gets to talk to her. And then he gets to dream about her and jerk off and think about her for a while. But to him, that's a good day. You know, that's terrible. He shouldn't be allowed to keep going on like this. But who's going to kill somebody? You can't kill somebody. Oh my God, these fucking cars. I'm going to get in an accident. I'm all worked up, ready to fucking go. Oh, almost late for my appointment too today. But anyways, I think I can go now. If I get hit by a car, so be it. I shouldn't say shit like that, especially with what I know. But point is, my wife grew up with that. So all the focus was on David all the fucking time. She never got a fucking thing. That's not true. Her grandma and grandpa saw this. That's why she's got grandpa's girl on her. She was super close to her grandmother. So when her grandmother passed, which also happened at the same time, well, it wasn't too long before she lost her promotion and we started going through the hard time. So you can put all this together, losing the grandma, us having a hard time, her losing her promotion, you know. This is what added to what happened. So when anybody wants to hate on my wife, well, go fuck yourself. Don't hate on my wife. I'm the only one that can come out here and say shit about my wife. No one else talk fucking shit about my wife. That's my fucking wife. She's my wife for a fucking reason. I love her to death. And I would fucking prove that by killing motherfuckers who try to diss her. But point is, that's what led up to the circumstances. A lot on your mind. She's looking for me to be that crutch, like whenever we're in the hospital when David's not doing so good, I'm her crutch. Well, her grandma dies, and I was there for that event, but I wasn't necessarily there for her after, you know, after I thought she was okay, because once again, she hides her emotions because of her brother. Because I'm growing up with someone who's so sick, and everybody telling you should be grateful that you're not sick like your brother. You should be grateful that your mother doesn't give you a fucking thing because it all to your brother, because you have your health and you can get that anytime. And there's a certain way of looking at that's accurate. That's super accurate. But in another sense, it's a terrible message to tell a child. Anyways, I gotta go to my appointment. I'll be right back. And I'm clean. Woo! No drugs again in my system. Thank you, Mr. Dr. Kobe. Anyways, that's what my appointment was for, if anybody was wondering. My program that I am in. So anyways, so yeah, I was talking about how, you know, you should be grateful that you're not sick and you can get material wealth anytime. So, and I said there's one way of looking at it, but it's a terrible way to tell a kid. And that is terrible to tell a kid. Because if there's a little girl not understanding why her brother gets new Nikes, gets a PlayStation, a Game Gear, a Game Boy. These are all old toys if you're a younger age, by the way, equivalent to, you know, your PS3s, your Xboxes, you know, your Nintendo Wii, whatever the fucking Nintendo Switch, I guess it's called. So those equivalents, but you know, he's getting all that. He gets to play baseball, and she can go in Girl Guides because it's free. And if you want to dress for your grade 8 grad, well, I'm not giving you the money for it. So if you can't find one of my dresses that fit, or want to wear one of the old fucking dresses that were hand-me-downs, or whatever the case is, then, you know, you're fucking shit out of luck. And I won't even pay for you to go on your trip to Laronde either, so you can stay home and watch your brother while I go to work that day. It's like, and luckily her grandmother stepped up and her grandpa paid for all her shit, bought her a dress, paid for her trip, all that shit, you know what I mean? Terrible. And you know, who knows, maybe the mom did that because she didn't have the money, or whatever the case may be, and she knew her mom would pay it, so I was like, well, I'll go tell grandpa. Who knows? Maybe my wife just remembers it as my mom wouldn't pay for it, so I had to ask my grandma. But maybe it really was, well, see if grandma will pay for it, and then, you know, if grandma went, maybe she would have. Who knows? Kids do things different ways and remember things different ways, you know? So, but the point is, growing up telling a child that, giving the child the impression that you don't get anything new because, you know, you're gonna live forever, so you're gonna get things better in life. Well, she's right. She did. Look, she's getting everything she wants later in life. But the downside is she has this thing, internal pain. She feels pain. She holds it in because she feels bad if she says it, because her brother is sick, dying, and doesn't get to experience anything she has, and it's not valid. That's bullshit. Just because her brother's dying doesn't mean she shouldn't get to fucking feel pain. Doesn't mean she shouldn't fucking get to express her emotions. Doesn't mean she gets to sabotage our relationship because she doesn't want to say anything when she feels pain, because she's been programmed. Her brother's not even around her anymore. She doesn't see him every day. I mean, I'm not making her feel bad. But like, hey, you shouldn't fucking cry about your fucking pain. Your brother's sick. I don't say that shit to her. That's deeply embedded inside of her. But as it goes, she sacrificed in her younger life, gave everything to her 2 little boys when she had them. Whereas Noel partied, went out, fucked around on her with the baby dad. This is my 2 boys' father. He fucking partied, did whatever the fuck he wanted. Oops. Did whatever the fuck he wanted. And you know, now he's faking disability, showing fakes disability, and sits at home playing video games and has custody of 1 kid out of the 4 kids he has. Barely sees these 2 because they don't want nothing to do with them, except for when they're mad at us, they go over there because they're grounded. And they know they can't do anything here, but over there he won't be grounded because he knows he fucked up. So whatever he can within his limits, he'll give to them. And so yeah, I mean, now she's getting it, but at the same sense she has that built in her. So as a kid, it's a bad way to look at that, but as an adult, if you have financial issues and you say, well, you know what, I can give money anytime. I'm grateful that I'm fucking healthy right now, because I could have these financial issues and have leukemia. You know, I could have these financial issues and I could have a sick child. So there's a way, a different perspective to look at that perspective where it's helpful, and there's polarity to everything. That's just more proof. So that was interesting. So my wife, I get back from the clinic there, and that's when I called the video. I go in the house, my wife's like, I'm on lunch now, you want to go drop off papers at your job? And I said, well, I haven't got a message back from my boss yet. Well, I want to go to Shoppers. Okay, so I need smokes. I'm on my way to go pick up smokes anyways, but I want to look around because I can normally find 1 or 2 lying around somewhere. And of course I did. I go outside, my wife's talking to somebody outside of the car. Who the fuck is this guy? I didn't recognize him. I get a little closer, and Owen's ex-girlfriend is sitting in the passenger seat, and it's the dad there. And he goes to wave to me, and I don't wave at him because I got a problem with this motherfucker. He's one of the guys that were on my hit list when I was talking about my hit list so much. So they broke up one time. She broke up with Owen for whatever reason. Owen didn't want to break up, but broke up with her, and they broke up, and then Owen was very upset, and she broke up with him. And this girl is in grade 7, so she is 12. She's 13 at Owen's age. 12. If she didn't turn 13 yet, she's still 12. And she's like, you broke me for other men. And before that, she's like, you want to know a hint why I broke up with you? And there was a picture of like a rainbow she sent them and stuff like that. And she was saying, I'm lesbian now, which would very much suit the way this girl looks and all that. Very much, because she looks and acts like she might be, but you know, she's just a kid representing herself. Even my daughter has these phases of stuff. The one time she was using my wife's phone, and my wife has access to my emails, and one of my older emails kept getting junk files from fucking porn and shit like that, like spam after spam, and I never signed up for that. This is when I first put all the information out on Spreaker, and I didn't have a VPN and a bunch of other crap, so people kept using, I don't know how it works, but people use, because, you know, I'm not gonna pretend like I don't watch porn on there, but I don't sign up for anything because I know that's exactly what they do. You're talking to a robot pretending to chat with you, and then they fucking spam the shit out of you, and you know, they just try to get money out of you. Like, I learned those lessons when I was in high school, being a kid trying to sign up for all these things that said free porn, and you never got anywhere, and you had to give a fucking credit card and all that shit. And all I ended up doing was running up a high bill, not even getting anything remotely close to what I looked at. So when I found the, you know, porn site videos where you just watch a video as long as you have Wi-Fi, you don't have to download anything. I know guys that download porn on their phone are just stupid. Like, ooh, I'll have this video all the time I could jerk off to. It's like, are you kidding me? I mean, especially knowing what I know now, but even before I knew what I know now, like, if you need a video on your phone because you know you're going to have to jerk off all the time, well, you're reinforcing the fact that you're never going to have sex. You're always going to have to jerk off to a fucking video. But not only that, I mean, that's just looking for trouble, like, especially if you got a girlfriend or a wife. But anyways, so I learned a lesson a long time ago. But anyways, my daughter saw it, and from one of the links, she somehow got to a video site, and that wasn't X videos or X and XX which are the two that I use, or I use bake.com sometimes, but it's not as, it's too many videos of it once and it gets all fucked up. But I haven't had to use those in a while, thank God, because since we got in our fight, at first we were fucking having sex every day, and like I started this video off saying, yeah, I had sex in 2 days, so we're starting to slow down now, but that's kind of part of my fault too, and I'll tell you why in a second. But so it led her to another site, and she was actually looking at girl-on-girl porn. She wasn't looking at guy porn, or guy-on-guy porn, or just sexual intercourse, but heterosexual porn. She was looking at girl-on-girl porn, but she's got a little boyfriend at school. She doesn't like girls, but her point there, like, my wife was all fucking worried about it. Like, first of all, worrying about it's the worst thing you can do, and she rolls her eyes, of course. And then, well, second of all, I'm like, would you love her any less? I'm like, it doesn't matter. If that's what she wants, then that's what she wants. Like, I'm not gonna fucking create any barriers between me and my daughter. She fucking likes guys, she likes girls, she likes both. It just is as it is. I'm not gonna create any barrier between us. I'm not gonna fucking make anything harder or fucking send her away. Plus, the more we resist something that she likes, the more we say, don't do this, don't watch this, it's gonna be like, ooh, more kids do drink underage than people overage, because you can go anywhere and drink. But the point is, once people become of age, it's not as attractive anymore. Underage drinking is more popular. There's more teens, like a percentage, whereas at bars it's always the same people doing it. There's a lot of people that grew out of that stage. What the fuck's going on, everybody? Well, as you can see, I'm doing some gardening work because my 3-year-old baby turns 4 this weekend, and we're having us a party. Yay, party time! But yeah, I gotta get the yard tip-top shape, nice and pretty and all that shit for a bunch of little kids. That's assuming it doesn't fucking rain. It may rain. So cut up a bunch of wood and shit, but prior to that, I kind of want to finish off some of my ideas. My wife has gone to get my oldest to practice driving in a parking lot. I told her it's better off we're both not there. We might gang up on him, and we'll have two different styles and argue, so one at a time. Kind of similar like when my daughter's riding the bike. I was with her a few times. We're both saying what we think was most important, and the poor girl was kind of outnumbered. One-on-one, not so bad, and she learned faster. So, although my second oldest, his brother went with him, and I told him, you shut the fuck up, because if you're running your mouth and Austin's about to hit something and mom's yelling at you, not paying attention, and he runs into a cinder block with my brand new fucking car, I'd be pretty upset. Hopefully no one gets hurt, but fucking up my car when there's nobody at fault, well, what do you think insurance is going to do when there's somebody who's not supposed to drive? I banished all that from everything and accepted that. It's not going to happen. He's going to be a great driver. I really hunt for someone to be. Anyways, you know me. So yeah, the last thought I was going on was something about lesbianism and little girls expressing themselves. So I don't think my son's ex is lesbian, but me and his father got into it because after she broke up with Owen, they got together, and then Owen broke up with her, and then apparently he threatened her. And this is the reason I told everybody I didn't want Owen having a girlfriend in the first place, because he is very impulsive. In fact, he's ADHD. Impulsivity is kind of like the title of his condition or disability, whatever you want to call it. So, but that being said, me and the father sent a message, and I answered the message, and I was as polite as possible, and I said, I think it's best that they don't talk. And then that was prior to this thing, maybe it was after this thing, and then he ends up sending a message to my wife, not to me, because after we talked, saying something about Owen threatened her and what kind of parents are we and shit like that. So I got pretty upset, and that's the guy I was talking to my wife today. That's why I said he's almost shitless. And he's like, we're okay by the way, bud. I didn't even answer him. But my wife gave it to him pretty good too, because he was trying to say, hey, it's like you guys said no, you guys set the rules, say no communication. And I agreed, but every time I see Owen, the other day I'm picking up Jesse saying hi to her. What's that about? And my wife straight up, oh well, I have access to his messenger, and he hasn't been on Messenger, period. And Jess keeps messaging him, and he had no clue of that. And to his credit, after he found that out, he changed his whole tone. I mean, he was coming here to be a dick, and then changed his tone. So that was cool. That was good of him. I appreciate that. I'm not calling me down when I heard her saying that. And then she kept saying this back and forth, and then he went on to say that, a few days ago she was very sad, and he asked why. And well, Owen's not answering or talking to her. So it's like, well, you're coming here because he's saying hi to your daughter, but yet your daughter confirmed that she's not talking to him. But anyways, he says he's okay with them being friends if we are. And she was in the car, so she wasn't answering. So he said, I'll talk to her and get back to you. I'm fine with them being friends. And anyways, but I was, for some reason, talking about that. I don't think it's relevant to anything I was talking about, but just to close that line of thought out so I can actually focus going forward now. All right.
Hey, country boy Rich. Hey, city boy Rich. What's going on, partner? You won't believe what's going on out there. Yeah, I see what's going on out there. It's a bunch of effeminate, pink, knitted, pussycat-wearing Nazis coming from our red ball cap. Oh man, it's not just a bunch of city boys and girls who have an affinity for red ball caps. The mob out there, on both sides. You know what's at stake? Yeah, a witch. Hopefully. That was pretty good. But no, man, it's our ability to have a dialogue using words. So we don't have to resort. So we don't have to resort to persuasion by force. Oh, I see. So you're a witch. Hi, country boy Rich. How are you? Oh, hey, poorly voiced Carl Sagan Rich. What do you want? Well, I just recognize that both you and city boy Rich, you both look like Bob Ross's paintbrush, ready to have the dickens beat out of you. So why don't you guys put down your fists, pick up your words, and remember, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Good luck to you both. Yeah, I reckon you're right. Alright, well, excuse me, I got some reading to do. I'll see you around the way. Hey guys, how's it going, eh? I guess it's Halloween now. Oh, I'm a pumpkin head with a paintbrush on top. That's kind of how I feel. Really went for that Jake Paul look. So, I just shot a ridiculous intro. I don't know if I'm going to use it, but if not, welcome to the Halloween special of Let's Find Out, where we talk about something quite related to Halloween, which is the Salem witchcraft trials, or Salem witch trials, I guess. I don't know. I got a pumpkin here. As you can see, this thing's heavy. I should put it on autofocus. Okay. Yeah, I went and snagged Molly's pumpkin off the front porch, so I'll try to incorporate it somewhere in the background. But today was a little essay. I'm going to try to do less off script, in more of a concise, manageable, hopefully coherent version of my usual episodes. So I've been working on this for a while, and I'm pretty proud of it, yeah. Because as I was looking into doing the Salem witch trials, this topic for Halloween, I recognized so many different parallels and useful, nuggets of wisdom we could glean off it. And thus, that weird intro. So let's find out what we can learn from the groupthink of the Salem witch trials. we have to tease it out a little bit. And then I can drape it over my bookshelf and hopefully not have it catch flame. Not have it catch flame. Okay, here we go. Alright, that actually looks kind of cool. Very cool. Just missing one touch. So, the Salem witch trials. So the Salem witch trials occurred in Salem, Massachusetts, in the colonial period, before, pretty much 100 years before America became a nation. This was almost 330 years ago, a long time, 1692. And it was just in less than a year this all took place. 200 people were accused of practicing the devil's magic. Witchcraft. So eventually, the colony admitted the mistake of the trials and compensated the families of the convicted. But not before 20 people were hanged. And one man was actually crushed to death under stones. Since then, the story of the trials has become synonymous with paranoia, injustice, and it continues to beguile the popular imagination more than 300 years later. Alright, actually, I know for a lot of you guys it's already really, really cold, but down here in Florida it's still hot as hell. And as cool as that jacket looks, I'm about to start sweating. But speaking of mistakes governments make, wouldn't you agree ours is ridiculously inefficient? I mean, you've heard of how NASA spent millions to develop a anti-gravity pen that works in orbit, while Russia just used a pencil. Well, you're wrong. Originally, NASA astronauts, like the Soviet cosmonauts, used pencils. In fact, NASA ordered 34 mechanical pencils from Houston's Tycam Engineering. Sorry, I forgot I'm supposed to be reading this out of a book. They paid $128 per pencil. But these prices became public, and the public was outraged. So NASA scrambled to find something cheaper to use. And pencils may not have been the best choice anyway, because they chip and they're conductive, so that they could cause a spark and cause a fire, as had already happened, killing 3 astronauts in NASA's test facility, very sadly, as portrayed in the great Apollo 13 movie. Yeah, it was the Apollo 1 fire. So it was actually a private businessman, Paul C. Fisher, who reportedly invested $1 million to create what is now commonly called the space pen. None of this investment money came from NASA or the government. In 1965, Fisher patented a pen that could write upside down in frigid or roasting conditions, down to minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit, or up to 400 degrees, and even underwater or in other liquids. And according to Fisher Space Pen Company, the Apollo 11 astronauts even used the pen to fix a broken arming switch, enabling their return to Earth. It's quite a statement about your product. Okay, so you're either saying, wow, that's interesting, or Rich, what the heck does this have to do with Halloween? Nice. Well, groupthink. Yeah. Don't know how many of you guys have read this book. It's a more near-future version of dystopia than Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. But in it, I believe Orwell coined the term groupthink, meaning the more amiability or morale of the group there is among members of a policy-making in-group, then the greater the danger that the independent critical thinking will be replaced by groupthink, which is likely to result in irrational and dehumanizing actions directed against those not in the in-group or the out-group. So, you see where I'm trying to go. I don't know if I'm being successful at it, but when the popular myth gets projected into society, a lot of times it's benign, doesn't really have a negative impact on anybody, whether it's true or false. There's many other examples, like human blood is actually never blue in your body. It just gets filtered through your skin to look like that. Napoleon Bonaparte, Napoleon, was actually not short for his time. 5'7" is kind of short, but honestly, he was a giant. Not giant, but he was taller than the average man of the early 1800s. Earth doesn't revolve around the sun. It's flat. No, just kidding. It's a sphere, but it actually revolves around the center of mass of the entire solar system, which happens to lie inside the sun. So it's not the outer boundaries of the sun. It's a point slightly offset from the center of the sun that the Earth actually revolves around. Vikings didn't actually have horns on their helmets. And this is the most important one I found. Kind of shifts the paradigm of my entire childhood. Gum, it actually just can't be digested, so it passes right through. I still think it's really weird to just swallow something you can't digest. I guess you'll poo it out. But yeah, I for sure thought that. I guess until about a few years ago, I had a lot of double mint rotting away in my stomach slowly. And so I'm trying my best to make a coherent argument for this historical event that ended up in the deaths of many people. and how we can use it to guide ourselves using history. That's what's cool for me about practical historical facts. In pop culture, we get a lot of things wrong, and it's okay, there's creative license, but it's interesting to look at a couple things first before we dive in to what actually happened in the Salem witch trials, and see what mainstream TV and movies and even books often get wrong about it. So, ask you.
Oh, God. I better suck my fucking gut. My gut in. Holy veins popping out of my head fucking when I cough. That shit? Anyways. Garbage guys, about to pick up my garbage. New day today, y'all. Got a tight gray shirt on. Pecs. Tries. Deltoid. Bi. Oh, the bi's a little lacking, but maybe not like that. Oh, it's not bad though. I don't work out, so my traps are actually pretty impressive. When I had to do physiotherapy, I was like, you have really, really big and defined traps. Traps? Yeah, traps. I'm thinking of lats. Yeah, this camera view doesn't do me justice on the way. I just can't get them up. I'm trying to do whatever. Anyways, much on with this. New day, new mindset, new topic. But because I'm adding it to yesterday's info, I would feel bad and it would bug the hell out of me if I don't try to close out what I was talking about. And what was I talking about? Well, I was talking about a lot of things. I got on to my son learning how to drive. I got on to my one son's girlfriend. I got on to how my daughter was looking at lesbian porn, but she has a little boyfriend. All bunch of shit. I got on to my wife having a negative mindset, or sorry, not negative mindset. Well, she has, and who hasn't? We all have to go through that to get to the other side. But my wife had she had to swallow her pain and not express it because please tell me no. She had to swallow her pain because her mom made her feel bad because her brother was so sick and all that. I got into that. I got into a little bit of how because she sacrificed her happiness as a child, it wasn't really her choice. She didn't get to be happy. But even as a young teen, even she understood to a certain extent. I mean, she was trained and conditioned to not, to be happy with the little bit she got, and grandma and grandpa would make up for the rest. And I would deal with the unfairness, but, instead of being jealous and taking it out on her little brother, she would babysit her brother and actually cared about her brother. Like I said, when I met my wife, she told me that, first time and last time I ever saw her smoke weed was the first day I met her. I think she was just doing it to maybe try to impress me. But she was having a drink, and she doesn't drink much, and she doesn't smoke weed. She was smoking cigarettes at that time, but she didn't believe in getting high and destroying her body because she said if her brother, because he's so sick, if he ever needed an organ, she would do that if it was a match. She wanted her body to be perfect for him in case she ever had to do that to save his life. And not only that, she doesn't feel it's right to abuse her body and take advantage of it when there's people like her brother who don't have, tip-top shape organs, and it's a matter of time until they pass away. So she doesn't feel right to her to, abuse her body in that way. And once again, I think that comes down to the programming that she was put in her head from her mother, like, well, your brother gets to play baseball and your brother gets all the new toys and all that, and you don't get shit because, well, you're going to get a good life and he's going to get a crappy life. So I'm making up for it by giving him all the material crap he wants, and you're not going to get anything because later on you're going to get everything. And, it sucked for her as a kid, but she gets everything she wants. She wanted this job. She applied for it. A year later, she got the interview. And then when she got pregnant, she got called in to work, and that worked out for me. I got the time off because that's after I did my fucking candle to get time off of the 10 grand. The time off was actually first, now that I think of it. And then I got permanently off of that job And then I got the $10,000 from getting permanently off of that job. But yeah, my wife gets everything she wants. She wanted that job, she wanted that career, she wanted to be married, she wanted, I don't know if she wanted more kids or not, but when she met me, I wanted 2 kids. And, you know, I loved her 2 stepboys as my own. And if she would have said, I don't want any more kids, I think I would have stayed with her. But it might have been a disaster, and she probably knew that. That's why she didn't want me to resent me, but I didn't want her to resent me if I make her do something she doesn't want to do. Anyways, point is, she sacrificed. She had 2 kids of her own after leaving because she couldn't live with her mom anymore. It was too toxic. You know, she's sacrificing all this shit, not getting anything, and her mom's just getting meaner and meaner to her. Her mom's not there. Not only she doesn't get anything, she's also babysitting her brother because her mom's working 2 jobs, and her dad wasn't there at the time. He was in jail or somewhere else. So it wasn't fair to her. So she said, you know what? As much as I don't want to leave my brother, I got to get out of here. It's not good for me. So she took action and left until it was right for her. She got pregnant. She moved back in with her mom for a little bit. I have a whole episode about all this, by the way. But point is, when she got pregnant, she sacrificed everything for her boy. She stopped partying, she stopped smoking, she stopped going to school, obviously. She kind of had to at the time. But she went back and got everything once her boy started school. Once I met her, you know, I gave her the freedom and whatever she needed. Well, you know, I was there to pick up the slack kind of thing. So my wife deserved a good life. And it's not because of me that she got the good life. She got the good life because she sacrificed, deserved it. But she met a guy like me who knew she deserves to have a good life and who wanted her to have a good life, who wanted to give her the ability to do whatever the fuck she wanted. She wanted to stay at home, she could have. I'd work and let her stay at home. If she wants to work a job, that's fine too. If she wants to, I mean, I've told her many times before she found this job, she wanted to be in real estate. She wanted to take the real estate course. I said, whatever, you know, it's like $1,000 or whatever it is, let's do it. Whatever makes you happy, babe. Because she deserves it. And I want her to be happy. Like, she fucking had a shitty childhood and all that, and she, you know what I mean? She gets whatever she wants now. And it's awesome. And it's a good lesson. I mean, like I said, it's one of the reasons I think girls are more popular than guys, because I see my wife getting everything she wants. But, you know, it might be a little more than just she gets whatever she wants. It might have a little bit more to do with, you know, the fact that... Anyways, that was one of the things I talked about, and I think I closed that idea out pretty fucking good. But I started the whole fucking thing off by me having to go alpha because I was acting like a beta. So, first off, I'll be clear, I didn't have to go alpha completely because I think my wife is losing interest in me. But I was acting beta because she wasn't sleeping with me. And it was only 2 days, I mean. So this is all about me. It has nothing to do with her, and I know that. But nonetheless, so I was acting all like a beta male, and I realized it, so I had to change. I had to get a perspective. And through that experience, you know, I started watching a video about George, through the Frederick Xavier Mind and Magic channel, where he takes George and he helps George. George is the guy I showed in the last video who is a 30-year-old virgin thinking about suicide and all that because he never had a girlfriend. Well, George has some pretty good successes with candle magic, money, finding that girl, everything. But through that, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm acting beta. I need to get a reminder. So, you know, whenever he started mentioning RSD Tyler in the beginning of his Mystery School series, I was like most people, and they wouldn't check out his videos. First time I checked out RSD was probably about, I don't know, 6 to 8 months ago. And I was dumbfounded. I thought it was going to be all about picking up chicks and degrading women and just using them as game. And that's not the case at all. I mean, there are some jokes in there, but for the most part, he really talks about adding value to yourself so that the women see you as something valuable. You add value to them. He's just, you know, you're not just going there to pick up girls that are married and ruin people's lives. It's the girls that want to be picked up that you're going to pick up kind of thing. And he teaches so many good things that go along with that. So if anybody can, and I'd say even for women as well, they can get past and look at it from a depolarized standpoint and get rid of your preconceived notions that this is pickup. And you know, you might not resonate with them, and you might see something wrong with it. Maybe because I'm a guy, I don't see anything wrong with it, and I'm okay with that. That's the case, and I apologize if this offends anybody. And I don't watch RC Tyler a lot, but I wanted to learn how to be an alpha male. I needed reminders because I felt like I needed to change, because I don't like acting like a bitch, or I don't mean that in a derogatory term towards women at all. Women aren't bitches, by the way, but I felt like a bitch. I felt like a beta male, and I felt like I was acting less than I should be. So I decided to check out the videos. And one of the many things that have been continuously coming up in every video I watch, including including these ones, how to be an alpha male, and just going through the mystery school. And I listened to this guy. It's called Let's Find Out ASMR. There's a witchcraft book he reads. That's my go-to at night if I don't know what to put on. I always put that bitch on. The witch trials too. He's got one about that and the way he talks about that. But anyways, I watched that, forgetting about what he did in there, and he brings up George Orwell's 1984, and George Orwell being the one to coin the term groupthink. And I remember watching the R.S. Tyler video the day I was trying to learn alpha shit, and he was having a seminar at this workplace. He was hired to teach his people how to think outside the box, core confidence, a bunch of other things I don't really remember now. But he kept talking about groupthink, and I'm like, that's a good term for, what's going on today and all this. And I'm like, when have you just made that up? That's somewhere else. And then I heard it in 3 other videos, like that day and then now today. It just keeps coming up. So that's what I have to talk about today, and I want to talk about today. But I'm not going to talk about that just yet, because I'm going to finish my idea of why I had to get out of beta. Being a sensitive guy already, having a lot of negative energies within my birth chart, being raised primarily, my sister was my friend. I had to hang out with her friends a lot, being the younger sibling, and my mom was mommy's boy. Most guys are, I think, if they have a good relationship with their mom. If there's no mom to have a good relationship with, then yeah, they're not a mommy's boy, obviously. But I think if there's a good relationship to be had there, then there's never a situation where the guy's got a good mom and son, mommy's boy. But that's just my opinion. The point is, I'm very in tune with them. It works to my advantage. Like I said before, I can talk to women, and I'm very comfortable around women. I don't look at them as, I don't ever get paralyzed by a woman. And I've talked to some really hot girls. I've had sex with a lot of really hot girls. And the only time I get paralyzed or I had a hard time was back then. It was sex. If I was sober trying to sleep with a really good looking girl, I had a hard time not getting too excited too fast. This is before I read the books on simple techniques you can do to hold back your semen. So, yeah. So I would find an excuse to drink or do some kind of drug so that I could nail the shit out of her, and she would tell all her hot friends so that I could nail all her hot friends. Which sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. So, but being a sensitive guy, if I start displaying beta attributes, beta, levels of insecurity, and just acting, sub alpha. Like, I'm the alpha of my house. My wife is, I don't know what the term for, like, the fucking high woman of the house, but that's her, and I'm the alpha of the house. Because we have both men and women. We got 2 of each gender kids, and 2 girl pets, a cat dog and a girl dog. So I'm very predisposed to women. Just the way it is. The 2 offspring I had were 2 girls. My wife, who's got more positive in her chart, the 2 offspring she had were 2 boys. So you see a little bit there about this polarity between me and my wife. She's more positive masculine energy and polarity, and I'm more negative polarity and gender. But I'm in a guy suit and she's in a girl suit. She acts, thinks like a girl, but when it comes to her energies, how she feels, what she talks and all that, she's more, anyways. All that aside, I had to get alpha. So how did I get alpha, and why did I have great sex last night? Because of getting into alpha, which is probably the reason why I couldn't finish this video yesterday. And what did I do? Well, when I was in beta, and learned from this what not to do, gentlemen. So I've been very insecure, and I'm in a whole better place than I was, let's say, July and August. But September was my breaking point, and then now I feel fantastic. However, the nights whenever my wife, that whole thing happened, my wife, couldn't have sex with me. First time ever my wife didn't get wet. First time ever. I was always the one that couldn't either get hard, I couldn't last long enough, or decide just not to have sex because there was a point in our marriage where she was just too much for me. Every time we had sex, I could not hold it in no matter what I did. Sometimes even when I was drinking. Like, she's fucking good in bed, by the way. But anyways, oh shit, she's gonna kill me if she ever watches this shit. Thank God for that. But I had to I had to go alpha because I was acting very insecure. I was blaming her for things that I was feeling. And I was bitching about it, like, you know, like complaining about it. And all that is not helpful whatsoever. It's not something a girl wants. If you have a girlfriend or a wife, they want to feel protected. They want to feel safe. They want you to be confident. So if something's happening bad, and this is why I have videos about coronavirus, if it's fucking real or if it's fake, you should act like it's fucking fake. And act like no matter what happens, don't worry, wife, girlfriend, don't worry, kids and family, I got this, you're protected, you have no reason to worry. And they will walk around in confidence, not in fear. Because if you're in fear of this fucking thing, you're shutting down your immune system. That's a fucking fact. I don't care what you say, that's a fucking fact. That's a fact, okay? And I get upset because I know there's a debate about the mask and not mask, and I get wearing a mask around sick people. I don't get wearing a mask when there's a bunch of healthy people out at Walmart. So maybe we do need to have times for the elderly to go to the store and times for the rest of the public. And if you don't know if you're healthy or not, and you just think everybody should wear a mask, go get tested and see if you're fucking healthy. If you have a strong immune system. I did it. I have a strong immune system. I'm an ex-opiate addict who still smokes and drinks occasionally. And I have a strong immune system. And I am healthy. There's nothing wrong with me. I need to quit smoking, but as far as my lungs are concerned, and my blood work, I'm healthier than a 20-year-old. Well, I think he said 25, but I like saying 20. Anyways, point, and that's just for my own little, you know, say things in the universe and they happen. But point is, when it comes to this whole mask debate, I get it. Wear a mask to save other people. I get it. You don't know, we come in contact, we touch everything. I get it. I get it. But the other problem that people don't understand, the other side of this whole mask debate that people need to understand is your breath, the way you breathe, affects what type of nervous system you go into. Therefore, you have two nervous systems, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The parasympathetic allows your immune system to fight off disease. It allows you to sleep, it allows digestion. The sympathetic puts you into fight or flight because there are times where you need to be in fight or flight. It's a system you get into when you're exercising so that your heart's racing, so you take in more oxygen so you can burn off more calories. This is important. This is why they actually prescribe Ritalin, something that attacks your nervous system. They have prescribed Ritalin to women who want to lose weight. Why do people that do cocaine and speed and all that lose weight? Because their heart's always going and they don't feel the need to eat because they're always in sympathetic. So sympathetic is like they're running from that fucking lion or tiger that's about to eat them. They're in fight or flight, so the blood is in their hands and in their feet. There's no need for them to have to digest food or even want to crave food. And this is what happens when there's too much CO2 in your bloodstream. When you wear a mask, you are increasing the CO2 in your bloodstream. If I'm in a store too long and I wear a bandana, I go by the rules. I'm not an asshole. Alright, so I don't know where I left off. I'm looking for a place. My wife has been winning things after over and over again. It's been insane. So I did a candle one night, and I was just doing an experiment, and it was I took her blood. Actually, I can't say it because I don't know if you're manifested or not. But anyways, so needless to say, I did this little spell to see if I can directly put something into my subconscious that allows me to bring stuff into my wife's reality, but only to affect her financial situation, was what I was trying to do. And so I made about 3 candles after I did that candle for financial gains, luck, and financial success and career success. Since then, I think she's up to like 4 or 5 wins. I'm picking up a gift certificate right now. I'm looking for an address at the same time as I'm talking. But I'm picking up a gift certificate right now for her, and I am. Did I pass it again? She won 2 other fucking things. I picked up something for her yesterday. She won from the flower shop. Her boxy charm that she orders, she got supposed to get 3 this month. She got fucking 5. The parking thing where I saved money. Well, that day we saved on like 4 different things. I ended up able to fix a big electrical problem in my house. That saved us a ton of money. money doesn't always just come in when you do money candles and shit like that. Sometimes you get money in the way of vanishing poverty, or you don't have to pay certain bills, and so it's pretty amazing. But where I was on this big fucking rant and trying to explain to people why the mask or wearing masks has to be regulated better, and only whenever you're around, let's say there's some circumstance where you can't help but be around either elderly people or people that are sick. And there's places in the world, like I think it was High Percentage Magic is somebody I listen to a lot, and he's in Japan. And when this first happened, he said they didn't have issues because everybody in Japan, while they eat right, they exercise, and they all go see a physician. They all go see a doctor regularly, so they all know their health. So the ones that weren't healthy went around with the masks on, and the ones, because everybody else knew if they were or were not healthy. And I'm sure there's poverty places or whatever the case is, but the point is, the people that are healthy stayed healthy. People that weren't healthy stayed in until they beat whatever they had to beat. Point of all what I'm trying to say is, with this whole mask thing, is if you're just going to sit there and say, hey, people that don't want to wear a mask, wear a fucking mask. People are dying from this thing. It's a real fucking thing. Stop being so ignorant. It's like, okay, you're not wrong. People are dying from this thing. People are dying from this thing. This is a real thing. You're absolutely fucking positively fucking correct. But here's the other part. You don't know all the fucking, you don't know all the information. You're not doing all your due diligence. You're not doing all your research. You're not doing accurate critical thinking or lateral thinking or any kind of thinking of any fucking kind. Because what you're doing is assuming that everybody should just wear a mask, this thing's going to go away. There's places in the world where people have been wearing a mask for a while and it's not going away in those places. So what's the suggestion for that? Well, here, let me tell you, that's not the fucking way to get better. People are going to get more sick the more they wear a mask if they're healthy people. And when you have more, like, okay, I think this is where I was going, so I want to finish this thought, and then I got to park and I got to find this place because they close at 1, or the ladies leave it at 1. But when you okay, I'll just go back over what I was already saying. So you have two nervous systems in your body, okay, parasympathetic and sympathetic. Like I said, if you're in the sympathetic nervous system, you are like on cocaine, you're like on speed, crystal meth, Ritalin, all those things. They give Ritalin, like I said, for girls that wanted to lose weight for a reason, and the reason being because if you are on Ritalin, your heart rate goes through the roof, you are in the sympathetic nervous system, and you are going to breathe more, and that's how you lose weight, and you're not going to eat because there's no need to eat. So what does this have to do with wearing a mask? Well, when you wear a mask, you are inhaling, you're inhaling way more CO2 than oxygen. This is already a problem. People, CO2 levels were already too high, and most people were in the sympathetic nervous system more than they were in the parasympathetic before the mask wearing. And that's why people were having lots of different chronic pain, lots of issues. People thought they were just prone to get sick, but the fact of the matter was is their immune system wasn't working well. A lot of autoimmune diseases because people, the way they breathe, not breathing correctly because of this, and it's because the CO2 levels in their blood were high. When your CO2 levels in your blood are high, the body, the brain signals, that tells the nervous system, however it does, through the receptors, through all that other shit that I can't really get into because I'm not a fucking brain fucking doctor or scientist, but it tells the body, okay, we need to go into fight or flight. We need to go to the sympathetic nervous system because we got to get all this CO2 out. But to get CO2 out of your body, out of your blood, you need more oxygen in. So it speeds up how fast you breathe. What? Picture this. Your body, high CO2 levels because you're breathing in your CO2. It tells your body we need to breathe faster so we get in more oxygen, get rid of the CO2. But you have a mask on, you're breathing faster, so you're inhaling CO2 and exhaling CO2, inhaling CO2, exhaling CO2 more. So you keep telling your body, you keep making your levels higher and higher and higher and higher. That's what's happening. So these people that were healthy are no longer healthy. Like I said, it should be up to the individual if they want to wear the mask or not. And I know that's a problem because people won't fucking wear it and they'll just pretend they're healthy and they're not, and we can't just trust people because a lot of people are just dumb ass fucks I get that. I absolutely fucking positively understand that. Like, there's a lot. That's why the government has to do things like the Canadian pension plan here, and like whenever it's time to retire, they hold money for you until you retire, because most people can't save money. That's the reason why during this COVID crisis, where the government's dumping money on a bunch of people, why the overdose and suicide rates are going up, because people are getting money, a ton of money. All these people that were in poverty are happy because they're getting all this fucking money, and they're overdosing because they're just spending on dope. People think that we have this poverty problem. If all the rich people of the world just handed money to all the poor people, then we wouldn't have this problem. And that's bullshit. People would just self-destruct if they had the money. They're in those situations for a reason. The only way to get out is to learn through their experience. But I'll come back on in a second. I really gotta find this fucking place. Right. Okay, so I don't know where I was. I have to keep restarting because I keep getting cut off. But anyways, when I say the mask has to be regulated better, it's just because what we're doing is, let's assume everybody has COVID, and if we all protect against everybody, if we all assume everybody has COVID and we protect against it, then we'll all be protected. And that's true if in the guise of, yes, if everybody wears a mask, wears gloves, sanitizes their hands, and no one is taking in any germs, period, from any other person, then yes, we will all be protected from COVID. But what about all the other things? What about everything else of the human body? And the human body is one of these, is an organism, and it needs to adapt to things. Especially, see, us that are full grown, everybody who stopped growing in height, basically, then it's assumed, and I can't tell you for sure because I don't know, but I'm pretty positive that when you stop growing in height, well, then the size of your organs also stop growing. So because you're growing higher, your organs also growing higher and wider and all that. And that's why you can gain weight. And most people gain more weight once they stop growing their height, because everything else stops growing as well. Blah 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 blah. Point is, so everybody who stopped growing and is older, let's say, that's why the 20 to 30 age and the 30 to 40 age was the one least affected by this. Well, actually, the kids were even least. So when last time I looked at the numbers of who was affected, and even the younger children weren't being affected. But that's because they weren't regulated as much. They weren't told to wear a mask everywhere and all this. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But the point, what I'm trying to say is, we're protecting. What if we did that with everything else? Like, okay, let's assume everybody's guilty, and then we have to prove them innocent. Well, then it'd be a fucked up system out here. What if we always just assumed everybody was dishonest instead of assuming they're honest? Well, then things like eBay would have never took off. People think everybody's dishonest, but I think Jordan Peterson's where I got this information from. eBay proves that people are more honest than dishonest. When eBay started, a bunch of people got in there to ensure you're going to send someone money, and that person's going to send you their junk that they don't want anymore. And most people thought, okay, well, I'm going to send this fucking person money, and they're not going to send me shit. There's a lot of scams that go on like that, and those things are increasing every day, and that's true. And we do have people that do that. But eBay took off, and all the people that had all that money to insure it, we ended up not having to use that system, because it turns out that people want to get rid of their shit and get the money, and people want it, you know what I mean? So it was a reliable thing, and it ended up proving that, people are more honest than dishonest, and it worked out great. But what if we start doing the opposite? Well, right now we're kind of doing that. We're saying, okay, well, let's just protect against COVID-19 until this thing goes away. Well, it's not going to go away when you're making everybody weaker. Every day that you wear a mask in public and you're not eating any germs, you're making yourself weaker. I don't even have to go that far. Like I said, that's an extra added on thing that I think is more important for the children. Us adults that have been around a while, that have eaten dirt, germs since we were a kid, the only time we're going to be affected is something new. And I don't care what anybody says, COVID-19 is not fucking new. That's just my opinion. I can't back that up, but it's not fucking new. Anyways, doesn't matter. Point is, like I said, I've talked to farmers firsthand, and they've been given and they call it coronavirus, not COVID-19, because COVID-19 is a different term, hence the thought form. But point I'm trying to get at is, if we can find a way to only wear the mask when it's needed. So if we can reduce, okay, this is the time for anybody who knows. If anything, instead of just saying everybody get a vaccine, which probably won't even happen. It won't happen anyways. But let's say that was the case. They want everybody to get vaccinated. Well, how about we just say everybody go get tested and test your white blood fucking cell count to see how fast your body is to protect you against foreign viruses or bad viruses, invaders, because there's good viruses out there. You need to take in good viruses. Your body system, it's actually the viruses in your body that communicate to where this cancer has to grow or where the cancer doesn't have to grow. It's actually a very complex system in your body, and your body uses viruses to do this. You know, everybody hating on viruses, so stop doing that, because there's good viruses in your body that you need. But the point of all this is there's got to be a better way to do this, because go look it up if you don't believe me. CO2, extra CO2 in your blood has been a problem, and it's been on the incline. Before all this happened, most people weren't breathing right. There's TED Talks everywhere about this. Don't believe the TED Talks? Then just go look at your healthcare and everything else. All these different places where they have these facts and these fucking surveys done and these stats of what the doctors release every time they have checkups. You know, they release the shit out there. Okay, well, this person suffered from all this. And a lot of it, depending on where the doctor looked, but a lot of it comes down to breath. Your breath is something you do 23,000 times a day. And it's under attack right now with the masks. And I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, but they're just being super diligent and really trying to get this out. And I think it's just the best way, because everybody just thinks, okay, viruses are bad, cover up our mouth, we don't get the viruses, no one's ever going to get sick again, we're going to be immortal. It's like, no. The only way to get stronger against something is to keep being forced to take in a little bit of that something and let your body build an immunity to it. That's why the flu shot gives you the flu. All these things, that's what the flu shot is. That's why you can't have the flu shot if you're sick or have some kind of whatever. Why is that? And people say, well, because if you already have the flu, they're giving you more flu, so you're going to get the flu. That's true for the flu, but if you have any sickness, even if it's just a common cold, then that doesn't make sense. And here's the real reason. If you have any kind of sickness whatsoever and you get the flu shot, your body, your immune system, if you're breathing right, is already fighting against something. And then you're going to go shoot a different thing in there to attack your immune system that's already working on one thing. Not to mention, if you're not breathing right, well, then you're not using your immune system at all. So you got no protection. But that's the problem, is they're putting in a virus when there's already a virus attacking your immune system, and it's having a hard enough time fighting that off. It fights one thing off at a time. And that's why you walk around without a mask, taking a germ, you get sick, you pass it to your family, you guys all get over it, and then the next time that germ comes around, well, you guys are strong enough to beat it. But no. We're going to hide from all the germs all the time, not take them in, and keep making ourselves weaker, and we're going to, little things that normally wouldn't bug us are going to be, why does the person who's addicted to opiates, after they're not on opiates, they'll stub their toe and it feels like they broke the thing? Why is that? Well, because they're so used to not feeling pain that whenever they start feeling pain, every little pain is like 3 times, 7 times as worse. Well, if you don't get these little colds in between and your body has a chance to fight them off, so that when you're in front of this big virus, well, at least you've been built up. So that big virus is really not as big anymore, because you fought, say, break up that big virus into 4 parts. Okay, you got the first quarter of it, then you got half the dose of that virus, then you got 3/4 of that virus, and then at the end you got the full virus, all 4 quarters of that virus. You got affected by it. Well, if you never got that quarter, and then the half, and then the 3/4 prior to that, you're getting the whole thing at once, it's going to take you out. And then you add something else on top of that. And then that's why coronavirus leads to pneumonia. It's not synonymous. Yes, it's a respiratory thing that affects you, blah, 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 blah. But that's why it's like, well, pneumonia is only one of the things that happen because of coronavirus. Coronavirus is, like I just said, with the flu. When you get the flu shot, if you have another sickness already attacking your immune system, if you have coronavirus, your body's trying to fight off the coronavirus right now. And then you come in contact with a different virus, maybe it's the flu, maybe it's something else, I don't know. But your body can't fight both of them off at the same time. But the problem is right now, the biggest problem, and look it up if you don't believe me, when the doctors do a fucking an organ transplant, when you're getting tissue from another person that's foreign to your body's going to fight against it because it's not part of your makeup. It's funny because fight or flight actually makes you not able to fight off disease. But being in the sympathetic, not being in fight or flight, allows your body to fight off disease. So what do? They have to take cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and they put that in the patient who's receiving the new liver, the new heart, a skin graft, whatever it is, the foreign tissue. They put that in you to put you in fight or flight so your immune system won't fight the new tissue. Go look it up. This realm is dual. Opposites attract. I say this often. Anyways, that's enough about that. But for anybody out there who just says simply, put a fucking mask on, people are dying, trying to bully people into feeling bad for not wearing a mask because they didn't do enough fucking research to know all the variables. And once again, I wear a mask when I go in public because I don't know who's there. I don't know what's what, and I don't want to be disrespectful, and I don't want some old person who knows they have a weak immune system wearing a mask and they're just there to get their groceries for the week because they only get a little bit of money and they want to go out, and because they don't get to see anybody anymore because their family barely visited them before coronavirus, so they go out, but then they see a bunch of assholes not wearing masks and they get scared and then risk them getting more fearful and think they're going to get sick because someone's not wearing a mask. No, you're going to get sick because now you're putting yourself in fight or flight, you old fuck. But it's not their fucking fault. It's our society's fault. It's the group think's fault. Everybody thinking they fucking know everything. People just believing whatever they're fucking told. Here's another example, and you'll hear this after with the guy I'm going to play from the Let's Find Out ASMR. When he does the book for the Salem witch trials, he starts off with trying to make a case for, he's trying to establish how groupthink happens. And I think it was in Men in Black, the first one. Tommy Lee says, oh yeah, NASA spent $2 million on a pen, and talking about all these conspiracies because he's telling Will Smith that aliens are real and all this. Well, most people think NASA spent $3 million on a fucking pen. And it's not fucking true. NASA has, I think it's 1.2 million or $1 million that is donated from Mike something, donated it to NASA because I think it was Apollo 1 mission where the Apollo 13 or Apollo 11. Anyways, real thing happened. Lead is a fucking metal, so it can spark. You need oxygen for it to spark. But anyways, I think that was the Apollo 1 accident that killed, I forget, 2 or 3 astronauts. You'll say it later on. So this guy donated a pen that can work upside down, working really cold, really hot, all these different temperatures and shit like that. He donated it to NASA. So they may have $1 million pen there, but it was donated. So it's not your tax money going. But groupthink takes over and everybody fucking starts passing around, and then it becomes a fucking fact that is not based on facts. So the point I'm trying to say is everybody just assumes, and I'm not saying I'm completely right. Once again, if you have information that I don't know, you're just going to come out here and say you're an asshole for saying not to wear a mask, wear your fucking mask, you dumb fuck. Don't even fucking bother. I'll tear you an asshole. I'll tear you a new asshole, and then I'll fuck it, and then I'll kill you. But seriously, look it up. And you can just think I'm attacking you and have this big outburst because I'm attacking your belief system and it feels good to get angry, because it does. Once again, anger is both a positive and a negative emotion. That's why it feels good. Anger is useful. Anger can motivate you. That's why it's tied to Mars. But it's also, it can be a positive, it could be a positive. It feels good to get angry sometimes. But some people are addicted to those negative responses, and it's just like a dopamine release. But the point is, don't attack me. I'm not saying not to wear a mask. I'm not even saying coronavirus isn't real. But it shouldn't be feared like this. We can evolve to anything. For God's sakes, our bodies are absolutely amazing. Our bodies are absolutely fucking amazing. It's incredible the things you can and can't do and the things you can adapt to. Like I said, I know guys that drank their entire life. You're taking in that poison every day and it's not good for you and it slowly kills you, but your body learns to adapt to it and it keeps reproducing cells, keeps healing itself, and all this over and over again, to the point that if you get off alcohol, after drinking all that alcohol, your body goes into shock. It needs the alcohol. It was able to get used to a poison. Your body was able to get used to a poison. So how can our bodies not get used to this virus? Well, it can. But we're weakening our own fucking bodies right now by what we're doing. We're weakening them. It's not good. We need to find a better way. And I'm not saying to, every different age group gets a different time to go to the store, because that's not good either. But we still need to, and it's like, well, okay, well, yeah, it doesn't matter. If you go in there without a mask, the old people going after, your viruses are still there for them. And it's like, I know, I get that. There's no way to completely do this, but I don't know what else to tell you. Everybody who's got a weak immune system has to find a way to get healthy and maybe we have to start a new service where only people with really strong immune systems who are willing to either volunteer or have this job, and they're going to go do the personal shopping for these elderly people or any person who has a weak immune system with coronavirus. I'd do it. I'll sign right up for that right now. I'll go bring them their groceries. I'll sit with them and play cards for a couple hours a day just so they have someone to talk to. I'm not worried about getting their coronavirus. I'll give them a fucking hug. I'm not worried about that shit. I know my body can handle it. And I know I'd be better off if you give me a little bit of your corona and I take it in and I get sick for a little bit and I fight it off. I'm better off that way. To just hide from it and hope I never get it, it's just stupid. Everything everybody gets, doesn't matter if it's on the other side of the continent, is going to make its way through our whole fucking world. It's that simple. The way we network and the way things happen, and this person knows this person. Oh, small world, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's a small fucking world. It's huge, but it's fucking small. We're all going to get it. By pushing it off is inevitable. So, best thing you do is find out if you got a strong or weak immune system. Red blood cell count. That's all you got to do. You don't even have to say it has to do with COVID. Just find out if you got a strong immune system. If you have a strong immune system, well then either you've already had COVID and you bet it, or if you do get it, you'll be fine. So, and I mean, you can get tested for COVID. Just swab up the nose, swab in the throat, and you're done. Nothing. You check online 3 days later for the fucking results. I've already done it. Fuck, it's nothing. It's bullshit. It's stupidity. This is about something bigger. And they want the group think. They want all of us to think as a group. I think in 1984, George Orwell says something to the effect of, the more intellectual and the more smart are in group of leaders that make the bills and the shit, the more smart and intellectual they are, the more likely and the better chances that they are going to make the out group, us, the masses, stupider. They're going to allow us they're going to make us think a certain way so they can control us, basically, is how I perceived it. It was something to the effect of, the out group, well, we have a controlled group thing, more likely, and the people that are outside of that group think are going to be targeted and destroyed or something to that effect. And you can see that happening right now. You know, all these polarizing things. What fucking political party are you on? Are you a COVIDiot or not a COVIDiot? Or do you wear a mask or against masks? Or flat earth or fucking round earth? Or NASA, did we go to the moon or not? It's like, why do we have to argue over these stupid fucking things? And I mean, our leaders are telling us all what to do, but how come we don't get a say? How come us as people don't get a say? And like I said, I already made this point. It's like dumping a bunch of money on a bunch of poor people is not going to fix anything. And this is proof of that. And maybe that's the point. Let's dump all this money during this COVID crisis on all these poor people so we can prove the fact that giving poor people money isn't going to help anything, because they're just going to piss it away. They're going to buy new TVs and game systems, best case scenario, worst case scenario. They're going to buy Purple Pebble or all these other drugs and kill themselves. I mean, in the last 2 weeks in my 50,000 town, there's been one body found, and they ruled out suspicious fucking play, but that's just the city not wanting to get a panic during a fucking pandemic. But a girl's body, a 40-year-old, was found, and a drummer just got overdosed, and another overdose, and there was a suicide in like the last 3 weeks, and we're 50,000 people, and that's the only ones we know about. You know what I mean? Because of my group and my wife's group, my mom's group, and how the hearsay happens, right? So, you know, you can go from that. But anyways, this is not what I'm supposed to be talking about today. I gotta go deliver this thing to my wife, and I'll come back and I'll get back onto the beta mail. But I hope I made my point. I'm not here to diss anybody. I think it's a good thing if people are telling people to put on masks and stop being disrespectful, because I don't want to be that guy that goes into a place and scares old people and put them in fight or flight. But in the same sense, I know the damage it does. I don't have to worry about it, and my family members don't have to worry about it, because I've taught them how to breathe. Alright, so I'm not going to keep talking about this, because I'm not going to keep going down this whole death thing and COVID and all that, because it's just going to make me sad and depressed and all that. And I don't want to do that to the video. Sorry, I had to plug it in. So, I wasn't supposed to talk about any of this. It's funny because the title of this video, the first thing I said was, if you don't worry, then there's nothing to worry about. And that's kind of more or less, I think what I wanted to say was, if you If you worry, you'll have something to worry about, or if you don't worry, then there's nothing to worry about. If you fear, then you'll always have something to fear, is what I was going to title it. I said that, and then I just started talking about how I was a bitch in alpha, and then I got really ADD for the whole first part, which was all yesterday. And I come on today, and I started talking, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, and then I got on the whole COVID breathing thing again, and, you know, now I'm back to the beginning to try to close off this video, because it's probably already like an hour and 20 minutes long. It's insane, and I'm really trying to stick to one topic at a time, and I can't, I never can, or at least try to finish them. So, first thing I'll say was, before I get into the alpha shit, my wife, the reason why she couldn't have sex is because she was really sore. And we had sex 2 days before, like we had sex last night as well, and the same thing again, she's fucking sore as shit, she's walking all funny. And I've already told everybody, I think, it depends where you look. I think average is anywhere from 5.5 to 6. And it depends, and if you're in China, it's probably like 4, and that's, no, I'm not trying to distance anybody, and I shouldn't even have said something like that, so I'm sorry everybody. I don't mean to insult anybody, okay, and I don't think that's right. Point is, I said I'm 6 and like a half now, actually. I was like 6 1/4, but now I'm like 6 1/2. My dick is getting actually bigger. And I told everybody not long ago that whenever all this happened, I did candles, I made spells while she was giving me head, while having a 69, while she's playing with me, while I'm doing stuff to her. Sometimes even during the act of sex, if I hadn't finished, I was doing my whole ritual, normally just the neophyte ritual, so I wouldn't get into the greater ritual of the pentagram. I would just banish any bad energy, so the sex was good, and invoke all the sexual deities, the sexual gods, and I would invoke Jupiter, and I was grateful and thankful that he expanded my cock once it was inside of her, so that it was the biggest she's ever felt. Make my cock 9, 10, 8 inches long while I'm in it. I was saying that, and obviously as much as I know that's not actually happening in the physical, it doesn't rule out the possibility that to her, it feels like I'm as big as that, you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean I'm long, but, you know, if you're longer, your girth is most likely going to be bigger too, which, you know, 6.5 inches is, you know, I think it's long, especially for me only being 5'10", but I don't really know the height to ratio, and that's the thing, like, I'm the tallest boyfriend my wife has ever had, so I'm assuming that I've got the biggest cock out of all of them, so I'm not really worried about any of that, and our sex life is great, and I can tell when she comes, and, you know, there's faking, and then I've had girls fake, and I don't know if she's ever faked. She told me she's never had, but she told me straight out, like, oh, I was close, but then you came, and this is before I knew my techniques, but point is, I did those invocations, I did those candles, our sex life got really good, but me trying to make my dick bigger, well, I went from, you know, when I was a kid, I got up to 6 inches, and then I got to 6 1/4, and then now I'm at 6.5, you know what I mean? So, they say the more you jack off, the bigger it gets. They say the more you have sex, the friction pulling on it gets. You know, who knows? Maybe it's because she jerks me off before we fuck almost every time while I'm, you know, doing whatever to her. The same for kids. So kids, if you're watching, just learn from it, you know, but don't do it. And if you're a kid and you're like 16 or 17 thinking about having sex with your girlfriend, don't ask me. Go ask your parents. But my opinion is, there's a lot of things you can do that won't give you an STD and won't get you pregnant. So look up those things, weigh the pros and cons, and seriously, because there are still some things you can get, like chlamydia from the mouth and shit. So it's a scary world out there. And not only can you get STDs, you can get coronavirus from someone's cock or pussy. Fuck, Jesus. Anyways, but so I went from alpha male to beta male, all pissed off my wife because she couldn't have sex with me the first time ever. I got all insecure, thinking something about me, turning this little bitch beta male, getting all mad. Then I had to reverse it and I went to alpha male. I'll talk about that. That'll be the last thing I talk about. And it turns out it was always my fault. So once I apologized, and I apologized for everything, and I told her I was sorry, and asked her, you know, what was going on. Like, I was really positive. She's like, no, I'm just so sore. She's like, we've been having sex so much, and she's like, it's so great, but like, and I love how crazy and how good and everything you're doing is, and I promise you, I'm not just gloating. That's what she says, because, and this is an improvement, so, yeah, I'm doing good now, but it means I wasn't doing so good before, I guess. And I always thought we had a great sex life, and so does she apparently, but it's steady gains, you know? You don't know how good it can get till you keep getting higher and getting better. But she's like, I don't know what it is, but she's like, you never felt so big, you never felt so hard. She's like, it hurts. She's like, the one day I was actually bleeding. you know, and that's like the second or third time now. And that's since I've done this invocation. I invoked Jupiter to help with my, you know, my member and my lovemaking and all that, and he did not disappoint. So like I said, I only got like a quarter of an inch in length, but I mean, I wrote on 2 candles, maybe 3, and did at least 6 or 7, you know, rituals in my head, just invoking them and saying those words. And I was just assuming it was glamour, but you know, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't want to hurt my wife, so I might have to, you know, thank him, offering, and bring myself back down, because I don't want her to not have sex with me, because it hurts every time we have sex, you know. So it was my own fault, but my magic worked. So as much as I'm not happy, it's like I played in this baseball league. It's a mixed league. If you hit it over the fence in this, you pitched your own team. If you hit it over the fence, it's an out for the guys. The girls are the hit over the fence. The guys weren't. You can say sexist, and I agree with you. I know plenty of girls that hit it over the fence, and every team, but the team that had those girls and the teams that had the girls that could play really good ball, were always the teams that won. And I didn't care. My wife wasn't a great player, but she used to go and have fun, and we used to play together. We loved it. That's when our relationship was probably at its best, when we were doing stuff together like that. But so it's like that. Like when I hit it over the fence, I'd be so happy and proud. Ooh, look at my testosterone show. Everybody knows how strong I am. But in the same sense, like, fuck, I just got the team out. So it's like win-win, lose-lose, you know? It's like, oh, I'm happy, but I'm sad at the same time. Same thing, like, it's such a compliment to know my dick got bigger, and that I was able, because I don't care who you are, if you make a girl walk funny, it's going to make you feel like a fucking champ as a man. But at the same sense, it's like, I feel like I hurt my wife, and I made myself not have sex, and I got all self-conscious and turned into a little bitch male. Anyways, so how did I do the alpha male shit? And it made her want me even more yesterday. Because, not silent treatment. So silent treatment probably could work, and maybe, but it was something like that. It wasn't, who are you talking to? What are you doing? Well, what happened last night? Well, you know what I mean? Always asking questions, always trying to be, you know, well, I love you, babe, I need you, I don't know what to do without you. Those things girls want to hear at specific times, but, you know, and she also told me, because I'm very touchy, and I'll be in Walmart, and I don't care, I'll grab her tits. She's not one for that, so I calmed down that, and that's when she kind of knew something was going on, so I sent her a text saying, I know you don't like it, so I'm going to calm it down, and I don't know what's going on, but last night, whatever happened between us, you know, I don't think it was your fault. I'm sorry for being an idiot and getting all mad and turning into a bitch, and I'll give you some space, and whenever you need, let me know. Whenever you're ready to have sex again, let me know, but I'll just let you have space, and, you know, it is what it is, and, you know, whenever you need me, I'll be here. And then I just did all the shit around the house that I do. I actually did a few extra chores, and she would talk to me, and then I would tell her the answers she wanted to hear, and then something else, and then if I was getting something in the kitchen, like, do you need anything? No? Okay. Or, you know, I just bring her something real fast, and, you know, I played not really hard to get, but I was acting like I didn't need her. So going from touching her, telling her how she was hot, how much she want to have sex, to none of that at all, made her like wonder, like, well, what the fuck's going on? He was always all over me, he was always grabbing me and all that. So when she asked me, that's when I told her a little bit, and then she's like, no, I don't want you to stop doing that stuff. It was just, this is when she first revealed to me that she was just sore and all that. And then she didn't give me all the details, like, well, you never felt so big, and you know, you got bigger and all this stuff, and it's been hurting the last few times when you go really crazy. She's like, in the moment it's fine, but she's like, as soon as we stop, I'm sore, hard to sleep, my legs are sore, my crotch is sore, I was bleeding. But she's like, well, no, I don't want you to stop any of that. But I still stopped. I still just acted like, you know, it doesn't matter, whatever. But I didn't do it in a rude way. So that's how I did that. And I didn't just like do my own thing and just leave the house in a rude way. I still got my girls off the class. I raked the fucking things. I cleaned the fucking house. I made the supper and all that. But and then I would go do my own thing at the same time. And then she would have to be like, hey, you want to go somewhere and do something? I'm like, well, I got to do all this stuff first, and then we can go. You know what I mean? So, or I just wouldn't let anything bug me, and I wouldn't get upset fast, which is actually a good way to go. I'm having a hard time explaining this, and this is why guys like R.S.D. Taylor and shit like that, because I learned techniques from him, but I can't really explain them. So, but anyways, everything I did worked out, and at night, it was amazing last night. Our sex life was just amazing, and this really helped me because I don't know if it's part of fake it till you make it or not, but like when I get insecure and worry about, you know, well, what if she's doing this, what if this happens again, what if, by me just focusing on not giving her space, letting her have space, not, you know, worrying about all these things all the time, I realize if I'm not worried about it, there's nothing to worry about. And I already know that philosophy. It's a philosophy I've been living by for my finances, for my health, for COVID-19, everything. And except for this, because whenever I found out that, well, okay, it's possible for her to have a conversation with a man for like 10 days without me knowing, having play dates and all that, mind you, I was at work, but, you know, it really fucked me up. So, but, so I've been worried, so I see her on her phone, and, you know, the screen's not showing where I can see it, so maybe she's doing something. Even yesterday, it was pretty uplifting when I said, you know, I'm going to be an alpha, I'm not going to let any of that shit bother me, you know, and I will mimic some of her behavior like that. So when she's on her phone, if I'm on my phone, messages, whatever, doing things, different things, being busy and always having something to do, and always, you know, whenever she wants to do something, tell her, okay, well, I have these plans first, and then maybe we can do it after that, because I've already had these plans. And I'll say, okay, no, I was going to do this, but I'll drop it for you, or whenever it's time to go somewhere, instead of being like, well, whatever you want, babe, I want to do what you want. It's like, okay. She's like, well, what do you want to do? And then I would just fucking do it. I would just take charge. I'd be confident. Because anytime two or more people interact, there's always a frame battle going on. And the more confident person wins. For example, I think RST gives is like, ever in a car with somebody and, you know, we don't really know where you are, and there's that one guy's like, turn this way, that's the way there. Even if they're wrong, everybody listens to them because he seems confident, knows what he's doing. But there's always that frame battle going on. And I realized I was losing that battle. But at the same sense, she was wanting me to win those battles. So we're both being indecisive with each other. And I don't know, but I took it that she wants me to win those battles. So that's what I did. I did that, and then when I went to bed last night, she jumped my bone as soon as I got to bed. Normally she'll watch TV for a few minutes, so I'll finish up whatever I'm listening to. I'll finish writing in my diary. I'll do my shit in my head. I normally got about half an hour until she shuts off the TV, you know. And then we got to go to sleep. Not last night, but the 2 nights before that, where we didn't have sex, and then I had trouble sleeping. She's like, I wanted sex. What's going on? But so too much Mars right now going through me. But Mars didn't like the beta shit. But anyways, the last night as soon as I got to bed, it was just she was on top of me. You know, I didn't have to do anything. I mean, I did stuff because I like doing stuff. I like doing, you know, I love 96, 69. I fucking love, you know, my part of that. And then when you get to receive as well as doing that, I mean, I fucking love that. But anyways, just in case any people that know me, like family or anything, watch this, I'm sorry, you shouldn't watch these episodes. But yeah, so it all seemed to work. But so there's this frame battle, and I don't necessarily want to win, but there's times where she has to win. Because when she knows, and that's another thing. So for me anyways, to be a good alpha, and for me to take charge and do what's necessary. Sometimes when I honestly don't know what I'm doing, and I know she's got more knowledge, the better thing to do is to delegate and let her lead. You know what I mean? She's looking for me to lead. She wants me to keep her safe. She wants to be comfortable. That's the whole reason why when I stopped working, I started doing this path. And when she found out, she was very scared because, you know, all the negative connotations, plus how we're going to pay the bill, plus we got 4 kids, you know, I get it. And I was just not reassuring her that I can take care of her anymore. Women want to feel confident women want to be reassured that they're safe. She is the love provider and all that, and I'm the protector. I mean, that's what's Disney and everything else put in our head. And I'm not saying that there's no women out there that can protect, because I know there's women that kick the shit out of me, but hands down. And, you know, I know there's guys that are very motherly and maternally, you know, whether they're straight or gay, it doesn't matter. So these roles are reversed. They're not universal, but generally speaking, in a straight relationship, the woman, you know, specifically wants the men to be able to protect her. And I know I made episodes before saying when a woman's ovulating, they prefer more testosterone because that's a better predictor for getting them pregnant. So when a woman's ovulating, unless they're on something that alters that brain chemistry, like the pill, then she's going to prefer a guy with facial hair. So it's one way, and that's why I've been keeping facial hair, because my wife's not on anything. She got her tube side, but she still ovulates. Therefore, when I'm like this, she's going to want me more, which means she's probably ovulating actually right now, because her period's on the full moon, and we have 2 full moons this month. And as far as I remember, they're both in Taurus, my sun sign, so my moon's going to be in twice this month, the 1st and the 31st, which is awesome, by the way. But so that means your period will be November 1st or 1st to 3rd. It varies. So sometimes it's the day after, sometimes it's like 2 days after. But it's always within there, at least the last 3 or 4 months. So, anyways, that's a little bit about beta males and, frame control. Remember, whenever you're having a conversation with somebody, especially if it's a girl you want to impress, control the frame. Be confident. And if there's something you don't know, you can confidently say, you know what? I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know much about that. Do you have any experience with that? Because I'd really be really good right now. Or should we Google it? But don't be like, I think, or my friend said that. No. And don't be weak, portray strong. But so let's say you are a sensitive guy, but you're straight, or, it doesn't matter. You're trying to impress a mate. It doesn't matter what sex you are or whatever the case is. But especially if it's male to female, because I'm a male and I know how to impress females, so I'm going to talk about that. I don't know how a female can impress another female. Well, potentially, but I don't know how a male can impress another male. But maybe it works the same. But point is, little tricks like having facial hair. Why I see a lot of guys having facial hair nowadays. And if you don't like the big beards, then just keep, a little bit of scruff or 5 o'clock shadow. Get rid of this stuff. And try it out. And if you can't do that, well then, make sure you're confident. Make sure you are doing alpha male things that, and I don't like that term because people think of whatever whenever they say that. But basically, it comes down to being confident, being comfortable as yourself, and knowing your strengths. Now, there's universal things every man can do to portray confidence to a woman, regardless of your strengths and weaknesses. But then, after those things, after that gets you in the door, you have to know your strengths and your weaknesses, and know how to use your weaknesses to your benefits, know how to use your strengths to your benefits, and know how to let her find herself. That's what I did with my wife. Got her in the door with the looks and the talk and the love and all that, but what kept her around was the fact that I was willing to do whatever it took, watch her boys, stay at home, work any job for her to have happiness. Meaning, I knew she had a hard life, and I was willing to sacrifice year after year after year until she got what she wanted. And that's what I did. We got the car, we got the house, she got her career. And now it's my turn. And, I'm not going to go tell her that. I'm not going to demand her do that in return. If she sees it, she sees it. If she doesn't, well, then who knows? We go from there, play it one day at a time. But now I need to do something that I feel has meaning behind it. Because to go to a job on rotating shifts, see my family less, is not going to help anything. At least if I'm working a shitty job on a day shift, I can still enjoy my family. And I can still do things with them. But to have that cut, plus not enjoy my job, and potentially worry about things, I don't even want to say it, but you know what I mean? That just, no, I can't do that anymore. And, she's working from home. She wanted to work from home, and she also got that. And, we got not much money in the bank. We got some money in the bank, and we're working on getting our mortgage lower. I mean, things are looking up. So, but that's a long-term goal to keep a girl with you. You got to show them that you're willing to do whatever. And if you're not willing to do that, well, then you're not willing to have a life with a person. If you're not willing to say, you know what, honey, this is what you want, well, I'll do whatever it takes to get you have that. And you can say, well, that's, you've got to focus on me. And you're right. But depending on where you are in life, that should be a no-brainer. For me at the time, it was a no-brainer. It didn't even matter what I had to do. Whatever I had to do to make her happy and let her get her goals was what I did. And now we're past that point. She's got what she thought she wanted. And maybe it's not what she wants anymore. But guess what? I found another way for us to get what we want without having to do this suffering and fucking working and just waiting for years and years. Now I know magic, and we can make stuff happen a hell of a lot fucking faster. And I can teach her that too. But I'm proving the results right now. And then after she sees enough, because she keeps seeing these result after result after result, and then I keep saying, see, this is what I do, babe. And she's like, more and more she smiles. There's barely any days where she said, I thought, because every once in a while, my magic wouldn't work out. I wasn't 5 for 5, 7 for 7. I was 2 out of 3. So every time I would say 2 out of those 3, I'd take a look, babe. And then the 1 out of 3, she'd say, oh, I thought you said. So those aren't happening anymore. And she's more and more coming along with what I'm saying. And I think she's been doing techniques because she's losing weight too. So, it's all good in the hood. But anyways, I had to finish this video up. And I don't even know what the fuck I'm going to name this. I think I'm just keep it simple and just do what I said it would. But anyways, thanks to everybody once again for listening to me. And allowing me to fucking just rant and talk about random shit. And thanks for checking it out. Someone commented on my last video about, hey, is this on Spotify? And I said yes, or I hope this is available to download on Spotify. My last podcast, but it was the podcast that was on YouTube. And I said yes, they're all on there. I don't exactly remember what I wrote, but I know I wanted to write something to the effect of, the point of doing this is to teach people how to do the exercises and techniques and rituals that I learned how to manifest things. And at the same time as doing those rituals, if you're always listening to stuff that validates and like testimonials that, you know, prove that this shit's real, well, that is going to program you. You listen to that for 30 days or more. Fuck, like me, for like the last 3 years, that's all I've been listening to. And look, my shit's happening like this. And you can say, well, 3 years is a long time, Corey. Well, that's why you do the rituals, the sigil magic and the candle magic. And you make sigils and candles to say, I'm so grateful that my magic, my manifestation has come, you know, within 3 days, or, you know, however long. Or I'm so grateful that everything I manifest here at my altar comes into fruition, and any negative self-talk I have, I am free from manifesting when it's not on my altar. Whatever, you wish for more wishes, like I used before, you know, do things like that for little things, and don't even think about them again, just let them go, and eventually you're going to see that they're going to happen. And you just keep listening to the same stuff over and over as you do your magic. You make a candle, and you just fucking make a new candle, you make a new candle, you make so many candles you can't remember. You should take notes down, but if your notes are making you think about it too much, well, then take a month off of no notes and just fucking write shit, and then start going back to it. Maybe stagger that. You know, it all depends on how your mind works. I take notes for most things, but now I'm at a state where I know everything I make is going to manifest. So for my candle magic anyways, not the things that I'm like experimenting on, like my wife thing, I fucking wrote details about that, but the little things I write about every night, like, you know, little things like health for my kids, which isn't anything little, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't need to prove that that works. I know it's going to work. I don't write things down anymore because I have complete faith that they're going to work. But there's power in writing. Writing something down is a good way to bring stuff into manifestation. And it's a little fucked on how that works because, you know, I have things in books that I never got rid of and they've manifested. So, you know. But anyways, that's it. That's long enough. Sorry for taking another 2 hours or more of your time. But I really appreciate everybody out there. And females out there, go alpha if you need to. The woman wants you to become beta, but once you become too beta, most of the time you can lose them. And it's not necessarily because you became the beta that you lose them. It's because you start resenting, and you start taking for granted that she's always going to be there, or, you know, you're just busy trying to do you and you forget about her, and things get stale. So don't let that happen. You know, I did, and I almost lost the love of my life. And you know, what I've been through, I wouldn't wish on my enemy. Not even the dude that caused it. Well, he didn't cause it. I caused it. And I know that. I'm not no victim. I fucking know what I did, and I'm trying to make up for it. Doesn't make it any less painful, but once again, it's a lesson. Everything's a lesson. And also, everything is a pendulum swing. Everything is rhythm, back and forth, cause and effect. It's always going to go back and forth. Change is the only constant, everybody. Remember that. And we got to figure out something to this mass problem, because we're going to make our youth sick. We're going to make ourselves sick, and this shit ain't good. But anyways, have a great fucking day.